At Minute Maid Park, where the Houston Astros play, they used to have Towles Hill in center field. This was a hill at dead center that was on the field of play. It made the center field fence 436 feet from home plate and also caused some exciting moments. It was difficult for outfielders to try to catch fly balls while running uphill. But besides the hill, there was also a flagpole on the field of play. Luckily, there was padding around it, but that's still very unique. A warning track was also on the ground before the hill to warn outfielders of the incline. The hill was the idea of former team president Tal Smith, which is how it got its name. After the 2015 season, the hill was removed from Minute Maid Park, and there is now a normal center field there. There was also another stadium that had a flagpole on the field. At Old Tigers Stadium in Detroit, there was a flagpole on the warning track in left center. I would think that some center fielders would be bothered by this when chasing fly balls. When the field was reconfigured, that later moved the pole off the field. But that wasn't the only strange part of the stadium. Tiger Stadium was also known for how on top of the field it felt to be sitting in the upper deck. Unlike most stadiums where the upper decks are at the back of the seats below, the ones here were right on top. It was very interesting, but because of this, several players hit home runs completely out of the ballpark. The Tigers' current stadium, Comerica Park, had a flagpole on the field as well. This one wasn't as obvious though, and it seemed to be right up against the wall almost. Still, it's pretty unusual. This one was also moved off the field when the stadium was reconfigured. Yankee Stadium is known for having Monument Park beyond the outfield walls, but back in the day at Old Yankee Stadium, it was actually on the field. There were several things, as you can see, that were clearly right on the field in center. One interesting thing though is that center field was 463 feet from home, which is extremely far. So most likely not too many balls were hit way out there. Still, the monuments were later moved to the other side of the fence in the mid-70s. Speaking of along center field, the Polo Grounds was also in New York. It was the home to multiple MLB teams, including the Yankees, the Giants, and the Mets. This was possibly the strangest MLB stadium of all time. The stadium was located in Upper Manhattan, and as you can see, had a very strange shape. For the field, the dimensions were just 279 feet to the left field foul line and 259 to right. It was 450 and 449 to left center and right center, and in dead center, it was an insane 483 feet. The bullpens were also on the field of play because of it being so far. The stadium opened in 1890 and closed in 1963. Fenway Park is currently the oldest stadium in the MLB. It first opened back in 1912. There are many strange things about Fenway. Probably the most famous and obvious is the Green Monster, which is a 37-foot tall fence in left field. That's there because left field is just 310 feet from home plate. There's also a road right behind left field, which caused the dimensions to be that way. But the entire outfield dimensions are very weird, including the pesky pole in right, which curves around. The second oldest MLB stadium currently is Wrigley Field in Chicago. Wrigley Field opened in 1914 and is the home of the Chicago Cubs. Inside, the strangest part of the stadium is probably the ivy which is on the outfield walls. The walls are also brick, unlike most fences today that are padded. So as an outfielder, it can pose a problem. It could hurt to run into one, and balls can also get lost in the ivy. This has happened multiple times. Some other MLB stadiums have interesting things in the outfield. At Petco Park, where the Padres play in San Diego, there's the Western Metal Supply Company building. This is a building which existed before the stadium was built, and when it opened in 2004, the warehouse was incorporated into the design. At American Family Field in Milwaukee, there is a giant slide above the left field seats. This is used for the Brewers mascot Bernie to slide down when home runs are hit. The slide has been there since the park opened in 2001. The Toronto Blue Jays play at Rogers Center. The stadium has a retractable roof, but also a hotel inside of it. For some of the hotel rooms, you can see the playing field from the room, which is very cool. Moving on to aquatics, at Tropicana Field where the Rays play, they have a fish tank in right center field. This has live rays swimming around it, and there have been a few home runs hit into the water there. In Miami, the Marlins used to have a live fish tank behind home plate. They also had a home run sculpture in left center field that would light up for home runs. Both of these were removed when the Marlins rebranded in 2019. Finally, we will talk about Oakland. The Oakland Athletics play at the Oakland Coliseum. This stadium was first opened in 1966 and has been the home of the Athletics and the Raiders of the NFL as well. Because of this, the stadium is very unique. The main thing for baseball is the large amount of foul ground. This causes a few extra outs on foul balls every season. The dugouts are also a bit farther away than most MLB stadiums. Overall, the stadium has lots of quirks and interesting things. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.